Come with me on a walk to the zoo. You can imagine that you're going to a zoo that you know, with which you're familiar or have visited once or twice, or a zoo where you feel at home, where the animals seem to know you, where you seem to know them. You might even have pet names for them. No pun intended, but I liked it. It was cute. You might go visit a zoo where you've never been before. A zoo with exotic animals that they don't have near your neighborhood door. You might try a zoo of your imagination that exists only in your mind and your fantasy of creation. Pick a zoo, any zoo. I'll give you a moment. As you walk through the entryway to the zoo, there's signs up for all the different types of animals and birds and things in the water, things in cages, things in jungly types of places. Choose where you want to go. Choose whom you want to visit. Choose with whom you would like to share some time, some observation, some consideration, some imagination, some reflection. I'd like you to choose 2 types of beings in the zoo. Anyone except a human being. Please choose one animal or being that you can hold in your hand. Even if you choose not to hold this being in your hand, it would fit if you chose. And choose one being that's as loud and strong and big as it goes, that you couldn't even put both of your arms around and squeeze and squeeze and squoze. So do you have one small being in the zoo and one gigantic one too? I'll give you a moment. Think it through. Would you like to give a name to your beings? What would you call the one that fits in your hand? And what would you call the one as big as a land? What does the smaller one do? How does it spend its day in the zoo? What does the larger one do? Can you think it through? Now I'd like to ask you, what do you imagine the little one eats? What does it look like? Where does it come from? What was it before it became food at the zoo? What shape does it take? How is it served? How is it gotten, acquired? How is it received? How long does it take to eat? What is the body mechanism, or what are the body mechanisms that are used in order to make it fit inside the digestive system of the smaller being? Can you make those mechanisms within your own body? Can you imagine that you're that little tiny being? and do what you need to do in order to consume that food? How does it taste? How does it feel when you're done eating it? How do you feel when you're done eating it? Do you like the taste? Did it have a smell? Did it have a texture you liked or enjoyed? What was the texture? Was it rough or soft, chewy or stringy, smooth or silky? Was it tiny and gnarly and gravelly and seedy? Was it liquidy? Was it gassy? Was it funny? Would you like it again? Would you like to serve it on your fine china? Would you like to eat it in the park? Would you like to gather it? Would you like to plant it? Would you like to harvest it? Have you ever? Take a deep breath in, let it out and sigh. Put your hand on your tummy and imagine that the little one's food is done being consumed. Give yourself a hug and transform yourself now into the larger animal. And imagine, what is the larger animal's food? What was it before it became food at the zoo? How is it consumed? Imagine you're that animal and you're eating that food. How can you get your mouth around it? Is it inserted with a beaker, with a syringe? Baster, that's the word I was looking for. Do you need to reach your tongue out to reach for it? Do you need to stretch your neck up to reach for it? Do you grab it with your hands or your feet or your claws or your beak? Do you stuff it in your mouth? Do you place it gently? Do you smell it first? Do you scratch your head or under your arm while you eat it, or after, or between? Do you enjoy it? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What's the texture? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it big with grooves and gnarly crevices? Is it smooth? Is it soft and silky? Is it moist? Is it wet? Does it pour? Does it throw? Does it blob? Is it like a yo-yo? What do you need to do to consume it? Imagine reaching for it and inserting it in your mouth and doing what you need to do to get it to go through your digestive system. Imagine it reaching into all of your yards and yards and miles of pathways within your body to nourish you. Imagine feeling complete with this meal, putting your hand on your tummy. Close your eyes. Give yourself a hug and a sigh. Breathe in. Breathe out. And while you're still holding yourself in your cradled arms, close your eyes, please, and imagine. Imagine you're at the zoo, and the zookeeper dining staff has the day off. And a volunteer volunteers to feed the beings at the zoo. And they do their very, 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 very best, but they make some mistakes. And your smaller being's food is mixed up with your larger being's food. And they are each served each other's meal. Open your eyes, and in 2 minutes, please, draw a quick sketch of what you think now ensues. What happens next? The larger one has received the smaller one's meal, and the smaller one has received the larger one's meal. 2 minutes, please. Draw.